Ever looked at a bank and thought, what if? Well, you're not alone. Throughout history, some folks didn't just think it, they did it. Welcome to the world of heists, where the stakes are high, the plans are intricate, and getting caught means game over. From trains to planes and vaults to museums, we're diving into the most impressive heists of all time. So grab your ski masks and notepads, because school's in session, and today's lesson is on how to not steal millions. Disclaimer: for educational purposes only, please don't actually rob a bank. The Great Train Robbery, a classic caper. In the early hours of August 8, 1963, a group of 15 robbers, led by Bruce Reynolds, pulled off what would become known as the Great Train Robbery, making off with $2.6 million, over $50 million today. It's like they saw the train filled with money and thought, that's our piggy bank. The plan was audacious. They tampered with railway signals to stop the train in a remote location. Then, using sheer manpower and a bit of insider knowledge, they overpowered the train crew. It's like they were playing a real-life game of red light, green light, but with a much better prize. The robbers unloaded 120 bags of cash, which they believed were untraceable. It's like hitting the jackpot on a slot machine, but instead of cherries, you get bags of cash. The gang then retreated to a nearby farmhouse, which would be their undoing. Celebrating a bit too early, they left behind fingerprints while playing Monopoly with the real money. It's like leaving your ID at the scene of the crime. The aftermath was a nationwide manhunt, leading to most of the gang's capture. The mastermind, Bruce Reynolds, was on the run for 5 years before being caught. It's like a game of hide and seek, but the seekers are the police, and the stakes are your freedom. Despite the vast sums stolen, the robbers didn't get to enjoy their loot for long. The Great Train Robbery became legendary, not for the amount stolen, but for the audacity of the crime and the eventual downfall of those involved. It's a tale of ambition, greed, and the inevitable grip of the law. So, next time you're waiting for a train, just remember the Great Train Robbery. The only thing you should be stealing is a glance at your watch to make sure you're on time. The Antwerp Diamond Heist. The Unbreakable Vault. In 2003, a group of thieves known as the School of Turin decided that diamonds really are a thief's best friend. They set their sights on the Antwerp Diamond District, specifically the Antwerp Diamond Center, where over 60% of the world's diamonds are traded. It's like they were shopping for the most expensive bling, but forgot their wallets. The vault they targeted was a fortress, 10 layers of security, including infrared heat detectors, a seismic sensor, Doppler radar, and a lock with 100 million possible combinations. It's like the vault was challenging them to a duel, and they accepted. The mastermind, Leonardo Notarbartolo, rented an office in the building for 2 years, gaining insider knowledge and the trust of the locals. It's like he was preparing for a marathon, but instead of running, he was planning the heist of the century. On the weekend of the heist, they bypassed every single security measure with a mix of technology and old-school thievery. They used polyester shields to hide from heat detectors, taped over security cameras, and even recorded over the security tapes. It's like they were playing a high-stakes game of Simon Says with the security system. After cracking the uncrackable vault, they made off with over $100 million in diamonds, gold, and other jewels. It was the perfect crime, except for one tiny detail. Notarbartolo left a half-eaten sandwich near the crime scene. It's like signing your work of art, but with mayonnaise and salami. The DNA on the sandwich led to Notarbartolo's arrest, and the unraveling of the School of Turin. Despite the arrest, most of the loot was never recovered. It's like they vanished into thin air, or rather, into the black market. The Antwerp Diamond Heist remains one of the most audacious thefts in history, proving that sometimes, even the most secure vault is just a sandwich away from being cracked. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, Heist. Art gone missing. In the early hours of March 18, 1990, 2 men dressed as police officers knocked on the door of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston. It's like they were going to a costume party, but ended up at an art museum instead. The guards, perhaps thinking they had won the lottery of law enforcement visits, let them in without a second thought. Once inside, the officers revealed their true intentions, tying up the guards and embarking on a leisurely 81-minute tour of the museum. It's like they were on the world's most illegal private museum tour, with the art itself as souvenirs. Their haul? 13 pieces of art valued at a cool $500 million, including works by Vermeer, Rembrandt, and Degas. It's like they decided to redecorate their hideout with pieces from the Renaissance and the Dutch Golden Age because, well, why not? The thieves were meticulous, avoiding the motion detectors as they moved through the museum. It's as if they were playing a real-life game of the floor is lava, but instead of avoiding the floor, they were avoiding getting caught. Despite the FBI's best efforts, the case remains unsolved, and the art's whereabouts a mystery. It's like the world's most frustrating game of hide and seek, where the seekers are professional investigators and the hiders are a bunch of stolen paintings. The heist remains the largest value theft of private property in history, making it a legend in the world of art theft. It's a reminder that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, and a lot more expensive. So, next time you're visiting a museum, maybe keep an eye out for any suspiciously well-dressed police officers on a late-night art appreciation spree. The Banco Central burglary. Digging for dollars. In August 2005, a group of enterprising individuals in Fortaleza, Brazil, decided that the best way to make a withdrawal from the Banco Central was not through the front door, but from underneath. It's like they saw the bank and thought, why go through the hassle of lines when we can just dig a tunnel? This wasn't just any tunnel. This was a 256-foot, 78-meter underground masterpiece, complete with lighting, air conditioning, and even a little railway system. It's like they were building a subway, but the only stop was the bank vault. The gang spent 3 months digging from a rented house nearby, removing over 3.5 tons of soil in the process. It's like they decided to combine a heist with a home renovation project. The neighbors must have thought they were really into gardening. Once inside the vault, they managed to steal about $70 million without setting off a single alarm. It's like they were playing a real-life game of Operation, but instead of avoiding the buzzer, they were avoiding getting caught. The aftermath of the heist was a mix of admiration and disbelief. The police were left scratching their heads, wondering how someone managed to literally undermine their security. It's like the bank's security team was playing checkers while the burglars were playing 3D chess. Despite the ingenuity of the heist, the aftermath was not as smooth. The gang was too large, and loose lips began to sink ships. Or in this case, loose lips led to arrests. It's like they forgot the first rule of Fight Club. The Banco Central burglary remains one of the world's most impressive bank heists, not just for the amount stolen, but for the audacity and creativity of the method. It's a reminder that sometimes, the most direct path between 2 points is not a straight line, but a tunnel. So, next time you're considering a home improvement project, maybe stick to something a little less ambitious. After all, not all of us can dig our way to fortune. The Harry Winston heist. Dressed to steal. On a chilly December evening in 2008, Paris witnessed a fashion statement so bold it made the front page without hitting the runway. The Harry Winston jewelry store, known for its dazzling diamonds and the kind of price tags that make your wallet weep, became the victim of a heist that was equal parts audacious and stylish. It's like the thieves looked at their wardrobes and thought, let's make this robbery a black tie event. The robbers, disguised as women in chic attire, waltzed into the store just before closing time. With wigs that screamed haute couture and heels that said, I mean business, they managed to blend in perfectly. It's like they were auditioning for Paris Fashion Week, the Heist edition. Armed with nothing but their charm, and some pretty serious weaponry, they sweet-talked their way past the guards. Within minutes, they had relieved the store of jewelry worth over $100 million. It's like they went shopping with a take what you want and we'll sort out the bill later attitude. Except there was no bill, just a massive police investigation. The aftermath of the heist was a flurry of activity, with the police scratching their heads and the fashion police giving the robbers a 10-10 for their bold accessory choices. The robbers had vanished into the night, leaving behind only the echo of their stilettos and the faint scent of their audacity. The investigation revealed that this was not the gang's first rodeo. They were part of a notorious group known for their themed heists, making them the Ocean's 11 of the fashion-forward criminal world. It's like they believed in dressing for the job you want, and they wanted to be the most stylish thieves in history. Despite the high stakes and the high heels, the gang was eventually caught, proving that while diamonds might be forever, freedom, when you're a jewel thief, is not. The Harry Winston heist remains a tale of glamour, greed, and the undeniable truth that sometimes crime does wear a disguise, and it might just be runway ready. The Hatton Garden Safe Deposit. Burglary, the Grandpa Gang. In April 2015, London's Hatton Garden Safe Deposit Company experienced a heist that felt like it was straight out of a movie where the lead actors are all eligible for senior discounts. The culprits? A group of elderly gentlemen who decided that retirement was too boring and turned to drilling instead of grilling. This wasn't your typical smash and grab. It was more of a slow and steady wins the race kind of deal. The gang, with a combined age of over 400 years, used their wealth of experience and a heavy-duty drill to break into the vault. It's like they were on a mission to prove that old age and treachery would always overcome youth and skill. Over the Easter weekend, while everyone else was hunting for chocolate eggs, the bad grandpas were on a different kind of hunt. They drilled through a 2-meter-thick concrete wall to access the vault, a feat so impressive it makes you wonder if they were also responsible for the pyramids. Inside, they found a treasure trove of cash, jewels, and valuables, making off with an estimated $14 million. It's like they hit the jackpot on the world's most secure slot machine, except they had to drill for their winnings instead of pulling a lever. The aftermath of the heist was a mix of admiration for their audacity and disbelief at their age. The police were left scratching their heads, not just at how the heist was pulled off, but at the age of the perpetrators. It's like finding out your grandparents didn't just know how to use a smartphone, but could also hack into the Pentagon. Despite their initial success, the gang was eventually caught, proving that while you can teach an old dog new tricks, you can't always teach them how to cover their tracks. The Hatton Garden heist remains a testament to the fact that in the world of crime, age is just a number, and retirement is just a suggestion. So, next time you underestimate your grandparents, just remember the Hatton Garden Safe Deposit burglary. They might just be planning the next big heist between bingo games. The DB Cooper Hijacking, the sky's the limit. On a cold November day in 1971, a man known only as DB Cooper boarded a plane, not with the usual travel jitters, but with a plan that would skydive into criminal history. It's like he looked at the airplane and thought, this could use a little excitement. Cooper, dressed in a business suit that screamed average Joe rather than fugitive in the making, handed a note to a flight attendant claiming he had a bomb. It's like passing a note in class, but instead of asking for a date to the prom, you're asking for $200,000 and a parachute. After his demands were met in Seattle, Cooper did the unthinkable. He jumped out of the plane with the cash into the freezing night. It's like he decided on an impromptu skydiving trip, but with a lot more at stake than just a good time. The search for Cooper turned into one of the largest manhunts in US history, but he vanished into thin air, or rather, thick forest. It's like playing hide and seek, but the seeker is the FBI, and the hider is a parachuting bandit. To this day, the identity and fate of DB Cooper remain a mystery. Did he survive his daring leap? Did he spend the money? It's like the universe decided to keep the ending of this story a secret, leaving everyone guessing. The DB Cooper hijacking remains the only unsolved case of air piracy in commercial aviation history. It's a tale of audacity, mystery, and a man who literally flew into the annals of criminal lore. The Swedish National Museum Heist, a boatload of art. On a quiet December evening in 2000, Stockholm's National Museum was about to become the scene of a heist that felt like it was straight out of a Hollywood script, except the scriptwriters were actual criminals, and the special effects were very, very real. 3 masked men strolled into the museum, armed not with an appreciation for fine art, but with guns. It's like they confused art collection with action movie. In just minutes, they snagged a Rembrandt and 2 Renoirs, because why settle for museum postcards when you can have the real deal? But here's where it gets cinematic. The getaway. The thieves didn't opt for a sleek sports car or a high-speed motorcycle. No, they chose a boat. It's like they were channeling their inner Viking, except Vikings didn't usually steal art. As they made their escape across the water, the police were left in a wake of confusion. It's like the thieves were saying, "Catch us if you can," and the police were like, "But we don't have a boat." The aftermath of the heist was a mix of frustration and admiration. The police had to deal with a heist that was not only bold, but also had a flair for the dramatic. It's like the thieves were trying to win an award for best escape by a villain in a supporting role. Eventually, the art was recovered, and the thieves were caught, proving that while you can run or sail away with stolen art, hiding it is a whole other story. It's like playing hide and seek with a massive, very expensive canvas that just won't fit under your bed. The Swedish National Museum heist remains one of the most audacious art thefts, not just for the value of the stolen pieces, but for the brazen escape by boat. It's a reminder that sometimes reality is just as strange as fiction, if not more. The Central Bank of Iraq heist, the inside job. In March 2003, just before the world's eyes turned to the beginning of the Iraq War, a heist so bold, so audacious, unfolded that it would make even the most seasoned Hollywood scriptwriter spit out their coffee in disbelief. The Central Bank of Iraq was about to lose $1 billion not to an elaborate cyber heist or a gang of masked marauders, but to a note. Yes, you heard that right, a piece of paper. This wasn't just any note, though. It was a note from Saddam Hussein, the then president of Iraq, essentially saying, "I'll be needing all the money in the bank. Cheers." It's like writing a check for the grocery store, but instead of 2 gallons of milk and a loaf of bread, it's all your money, thanks. The heist was breathtakingly simple. No need for tunnels, no dramatic shootouts, just a note and a lot of very compliant bank employees. It's like they turned up for what they thought was a regular day at the office, only to participate in the largest bank heist in history. The money was reportedly loaded into trucks. Lots of trucks. So many trucks, in fact, that it said they had to make several trips. It's like moving day, but instead of furniture, you're transporting a small country's GDP. Now you might be thinking, surely they caught the culprits immediately. But here's the kicker. The main suspect was already a bit tied up. What with leading a country and all. And as for the cash? Well, let's just say it didn't all make it back to the bank. It's like lending someone a pen and then watching them move to another country with it. The aftermath of the heist is a tale of intrigue, international conflict, and a whole lot of missing money. Some of it was recovered in palaces, walls, and even gardens. It's like the world's most stressful Easter egg hunt. But instead of chocolate, you're looking for bundles of cash. The Central Bank of Iraq heist remains one of the most impressive heists of all time. Not for the method, but for the sheer audacity and the historical context in which it occurred. It's a reminder that sometimes the pen or the presidential decree is mightier than the sword or the drill. The Pink Panthers, a global pursuit. In the world of high-stakes jewelry theft, one name stands out with the kind of flair and panache that would make even the most debonair of movie villains blush. The Pink Panthers. This isn't a single heist, but a series of them, carried out by a group so elusive, they make Waldo look like he's standing in the middle of an empty field wearing neon. The Pink Panthers are not your average jewel thieves. They're an international network, pulling off over 380 robberies in cities from Tokyo to Dubai. It's like they looked at a map, threw a dart, and said, "Let's go steal something shiny from there." Their heists are the stuff of legend. In one, they drove 2 cars through a shopping mall in Dubai, right up to the doors of a jewelry store. It's like they were inspired by every action movie ever, except they forgot the part where it's supposed to be make-believe. In another daring escapade, they used a speedboat as their getaway vehicle in Cannes. It's like they thought they were in a James Bond movie and decided, well, if Bond can do it, so can we. What sets the Pink Panthers apart is not just their choice of getaway vehicles, but their meticulous planning and execution. They're known for their non-violent approach, preferring stealth and cunning over brute force. It's like they're playing a high-stakes game of hide-and-seek, and they're always it. Despite their name, the Pink Panthers aren't actually fans of wearing pink or walking around with a cartoon panther. The name was given by Interpol, inspired by the Peter Sellers movies, because of a diamond they hid in a jar of face cream, mirroring a scene from the films. It's like the police had a movie night, watched The Pink Panther, and went, "That's it. That's the name." Catching the Pink Panthers has been like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. They're so elusive that when members are caught, it's considered a major victory. It's like finally finding the remote after months of searching, only to realize there's nothing good on TV. The Pink Panthers' legacy is a bizarre mix of admiration for their audacity and craftsmanship, and the stark reality of their crimes. They've inspired documentaries, books, and even a play. It's like they're not just thieves, they're inadvertent celebrities in the world of crime. So, next time you're watching a heist movie and think, that could never happen, just remember the Pink Panthers. In their world, the line between fiction and reality isn't just blurred, it's bedazzled.